Okie dokie, where are we? Good evening, Madhuri ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, madam? Is it recording? Yes, Mansa ma'am, do you want to explain your mind map, please? Could you see on the screen?
Yes, sir. This is not my mind map. Maybe it's Pallavi's.
No, okay, Pallavi ma'am, right? I don't know. Let me check out who sent this thing.
Yeah, it's Pallavi's. It's Pallavi's.
Okay,
No.
Pallavi ma'am, could you go? Pardon me for that.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. It's okay. But I can explain it. I can clearly understand it.
Yeah, I know. That's the beauty of these things, right? So that's why.
Yeah.
But if we can, hear it from Pallavi ma'am, that it help.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Pallavi ma'am, could you hear me?
Sir, wait for a minute. I'm connecting with my phone. I have to disconnect from here.
Yes. I can see. I have approved that. What do you call it? Just give it a minute. Yes. Could we start? Hi. Good evening, everybody. I believe you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Okay. Great. Pallavi ma'am, do you want to start? Okay. I believe some challenges. No problem. Do we have Lina ma'am? Are you there?
I have the wrong one before. Yeah. Okay. No.
Who want to explain mind map? Deepti ma'am, somebody from your side.
I can explain.
No, sir. Sorry, I didn't create it.
No problem. I was just checking. No problem. Pali ma'am, could you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Yeah. Could you please go ahead and explain your mind map, please?
Okay, sir. Actually, I have some problem.
This is really wonderful mind map. You can see on the screen, right? Even if you're
Yes,
on
sir.
mobile, you can basically explain. No problem.
Yeah, I can see it. Yes, sir. I can make it with my pen and paper and color it little bit. That's it.
Well,
Yes,
this you
sir.
did with pen and paper?
Yes, sir. It's a pen and paper and take a click and then.
Wow, this is really great. I thought you used some mind map software or something.
नहीं सर थोड़ा मुझे ऐसे इजी पेन और पेपर मिल गया कलर्स बच्चों के थे तो मैंने ऐसे ही कर दिया पेन एंड पेपर
अरे बहुत ही सही बना है means it's really excellent then means if you can do this art this is like artwork then believe me
yes sir
wow please
Thank
बताइए
you, sir.
क्या किया आपने great
yes sir ये सर एक कंपनी स्टार्ट करने का माइंड मैपिंग है जैसे कि अभी इट्स अ माइंड मैपिंग इन बिटवीन द कंपनी नेम इज देयर इन बिटवीन दैट माइंड मैपिंग जहाँ पे लिखा है हिंदी समझता है सबको ना
Yes.
थैंक यू ओके थैंक यू क्योंकि मुझे हिंदी में ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल लगेगा समझाना इंग्लिश के बजाय तो काइंडली बेयर फॉर मी सॉरी
नहीं नो प्रॉब्लम बट इंग्लिश का क्या बोलते हैं ना इट्स एक थोड़ा हैबिट भी करना है अपने को बट नो प्रॉब्लम whatever you
I can
whatever.
do it but at this time I'm not prepared right now but
please go ahead don't
yes sir
yeah sure
yes in between that mind mapping thing where I write it it's a company name comes and then for this company we have to plan the things in the
Mm-hmm.
planning. The
Mm-hmm.
project goals and strategy is theirs, and then it goes to the benefit side. The benefit, the arrow shows to the benefit side, and in this benefit side there is
Mm-hmm.
overview of the company, easy to memorize. That the way we can map the company is have to memorize it easily, simple and have fun kind of thing. It's simply we can make it like that ki nobody had some burden on that, and in that way we can build it that benefit side for the company's benefit, and the employees benefit too is there in this benefit side.
Right, right.
And
Perfect.
collaboration, we have to make a collaboration. In this collaboration thing we have to do teamwork, sharing, and colleagues. Colleagues means the we have colleagues are there in the companies, for which we have to share our thoughts and everything, and we have to do teamwork with them.
Perfect.
And then the productivity side, the productivity intuitive means the things we can got from other source of things, that is
Mm-hmm.
not it's not kind of legal also and illegal also, but we cannot show it here, and more efficient way to do the work.
These are ideas. Ideas,
Ideas, yes,
we
yes,
conceive,
yes,
basically build the overall
overall thing.
right.
Yes. And then the creativity in this, the thoughts are there, innovations and ideas. The company, the worker, the people who works in that company, they have their different thoughts, the
Mm-hmm.
innovation of theirs, the idea we can take it from the other people also and involve in this company side,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. Then we have the planning for the project, goals and strategy. We have to make the strategies
Mm-hmm.
to fulfill their goals, and
Mm-hmm.
make the project successful.
Wow, great, great. I really, I really love the artwork, the coloring of it. It gives a clear, altogether of different world. Means, frankly speaking, it's really great.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank
Hats
you,
off
sir.
to you. Means, if you can, do this thing in one day's training, you are really great artist. Believe me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a
Most
lot.
welcome. Most welcome. Anybody have any question?
Anybody have some questions?
This mind mapping actually I want to do as a I in the mind mapping here
Uh-huh.
the Pallavi ma'am is taken as a company as example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Startup as an
If,
example.
yeah, if it
Uh-huh.
is a hospital, I want to know how will be the planning.
Sure, sure. Let's go to Leela ma'am. Leela ma'am have explained the restaurant, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Leela ma'am,
yeah,
are you there?
yes, yes, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Could you please, yes, see.
Yes. See what this is the one that I did it earlier also. This is the restaurant. Oh no, the restaurant I did it as a SWAT chart. This
Yeah, yeah.
one
This
is
is
the
career
mind
one. Yeah,
mapping
yeah.
is
Yes,
like,
yes,
well,
yes.
like Lena Bhatt as a BA. Why
Hmm.
did I choose and what should I do? Like these are my initial thought that came in my mind. So first
Right.
I divided into four. What are my limits and boundaries for doing this BA? So that there are current one, and then I divided into two: current limits and boundaries, and what is my desire. So limit is like my age and my experience. No experience, I'm not as young as you guys. And my desire is my bankable skill, like either a certificate and experience. So my bankable skill is my desired thing that I want to achieve. Then the second one is strength, that I broke it down into two: current strength. What is my current strength? My experience, my critical thinking is my one of my characteristic, and the leadership skill. And what do I want to still desire and achieve? So it's a listening capacity, because business analyst should be able to listen to everything that the stakeholder and the development team both.
Right.
So my listening capacity is not as good as it is. I'm very hyper. So that one. And another thing is my analytical skill, to analyze that things that comes into in front of you. Then the other aspect was education and training is also very important to take into consideration while choosing a career as BA. So my current is, so what, I have two masters and two master degrees, but I have this online BA and QA. But my desired one is experience, of course, and the CBAP certificate. The other category I chose was a goal. Same thing again, it diverted into two another, this one goal. Current goal is a real-time job as a BA, to get a real-time job. And my desired goal should be become ultimately a product owner or a PM, PA and SME. So this is like my area, the path that I, try to map it up.
Right. This is really great. Means the way thought process, you can clearly see great thoughts behind the overall building this mind map. This is really great, and it's simply drawn in the Microsoft Word, which depicts and let you explain the way you're thinking. This is really great, and thanks to you, Lina ma'am. It's really great work, believe me.
Thank you. Because when you choose anything, whether it is a project or a career path, or as a matter
Right.
of fact, anything personal or professional, you have to put like pros and cons,
Right.
So
Right.
this way I thought, and this is, I really did it. All this aspect, I really thought about it. I discussed with Dave in detail, and that is what I had it in mind. But this, since mind mapping came, I thought I should put into the,
Sure, sure. And as an analyst, could you see the art in these, right? Means the
yeah.
thought process going in Lina ma'am's, in Pallavi ma'am's drawing. These are really excellent way of we are putting our thoughts on pen and paper.
So no
That's what
stone is untouched here.
exactly
I've
right,
picked
right.
up each and every
All
aspect
corners,
on
right?
every corners. Yeah.
Perfect. And you can go on and on, because this is thought process, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
emotional. That's how we as an BA, we keep evolving. We keep correcting the thought process. We keep adding the thought process. We building some options, better options day by day. That's how we work.
I
And
could have still elaborated more and broke it down
I
to
know, I can
another level,
understand.
right?
I can,
Like
yeah,
for
yeah.
age, for example, I always had in mind, like Rabindranath Tagore, he started learning painting. He was a great painter, but he
I
started
know.
learning only after he was 60. So that you
Right.
can again branch it out. Again,
That's
that
true. That's
age
true.
can be branched out in other few more paths.
Right. We have a great neural network in our brain which we can leverage and go on and on. That's very rightly said. But then for a business, we have almost go to the third or max fourth level. That's how we do normally. But
Oh,
yes,
okay.
as in for personal use, yes, it's an evolutionary thing. Means I can have another mind map with my age, as in product, boundaries, limitations, how I can support my age thing, what are the things I need to do tactically, strategically, so on and so forth. So I can go on building each and every of these, even third level elements. Like what are my banking level skill, what are my skill which can I bank on, what are the things I can leverage whenever I start working, or whenever I'm at home. Even how can I improve my homework in the sense the work I do at home, right? Not homework like homework. Yes, this British English is killing me now. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So homework is whatever we do at home. Let's be it a cooking, let's be it a cleaning, let's be it getting home neat and tidy. This we keep doing always, right? Means consciously, unconsciously. Even if I walk into room, if I see curtain line somewhere, some cloth line somewhere, I tend to arrange it as and when it comes. My eyes capture it, even if I don't plan for it. So such things, we need to sit down, we need to relax, we need to understand about my personality. So this is like understanding myself and building it to my strength. If you can do this thing, your interview will be excellent. Means
Yeah,
I
because
don't
then,
see
this, I think mind map helps you analyze
exactly,
things, analyze,
exactly,
break down into the very, very tiny particles, and then,
exactly,
get
right.
level.
And if you have a look at internet, there are lots of philosophical paper available for mind map, and that's why it's called mind map. You're trying to mind your map. That's how it was started thought process. It's really great evolved tool. And I really work out sometimes. Means, this is not my preferable one, but yeah, I really like this tool. Whenever you want to just sit down with some chai, samosa, evening mein baithe hai, and just soche ki, how can we improve these things. Okay, so get pen and paper and start jotting mind map. Nowadays you have a tool for your tabs also, so tab mein bhi aap bana sakte hain, and there are really great tools available. Okay, but yes, we need to limit in terms of these training sessions, and that's how I'll skip the rest of this thing, and I'll go ahead. Right? Anybody have any questions on this? Have everybody understood what Lina ji have shared with us, what Pallavi ji have shared with us?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good.
And
Very
unless
good
we
job, Lina
try, we
madam.
couldn't think, right? You need to try. try jotting down a mind map by yourself. It can be anything like making a tea. It can be anything like getting your house in order whenever you walks into a house. These are the normal things we do day to day. So whatever you pick is a kind of current thought process going in your mind. Try to jot down with a mind map, because this is a need of us to get adapted to these tools. We might not use it, but this is really personality improving tools for the life, believe me. Okay, so let's try to go to the SWOT analysis. This is another tools we've seen today. Ma'am, Lina ma'am, could you please explain?
Yeah, this one is the same thing what I present earlier for the restaurant thing, that this is a restaurant and they are suffering because of the pandemic and they are trying to, work on it, get up solutions. So I divided into 4 as a SWOT analysis, like the strength. What is their current strength? There is a brand, their brand recognition, the location is perfect, they have a wide customer base, and the unique feature is a pure vegetarian, which is not, it's very hard to find around. And then high quality. Then what are their weaknesses? So overhead, their dormant status, they cannot prosper further, they cannot develop their business further, they are just there. Human error is costing them a lot, and human resources is a problem. There are lots of staff and a lot of people that they have to hire. Now, the opportunities is use of technology can enhance their sale. That is what they were working with me, that they want to bring the online booking app, on the mobile app, booking app. Then they can expand beyond local region. Once they have this online booking system, they can go to the next city and the next city and the next city. They can, widen their horizon. The introduction to other international cuisine can be their another opportunity. Then banquet opportunity, and then event planning. Sorry, there's a T missing. Event planning is their opportunity. So these are all positive opportunities that they can
Aspects of
take
it,
care of
right?
it. And then the threat, what is the threat? With pandemic, the people are prefer to dine out instead of deliver then dine out. So that is their threat. Lots of competition from a low cost restaurant around, and increasing price for the raw material. These are their threats. So these are the 4 things. Now they come to me with this for this analysis, SWOT analysis. Now, as a business analyst, I can review it, each and everything, and then suggest them the
Perfect.
solution.
Yes. And we can see the detailed thought process going into this. Like the analysis already gone into it. It's really means I can personally see at least a 10 hours of thought process into this, because of the the overall hits you have listed down, the critical point, the strategies coming into place. We can clearly see how progressive the thought process, how what you can say, well thought of strategies you have been building on this. That's why I was supposed to ask you a question. Have you did this work for somebody earlier?
No, I'm not
Wow.
into
Okay.
no.
Because
But this is even our problem, right? We don't go out to eat, and
that's
we
right.
want to deliver the food or pick up the food. And I have couple of restaurant
Current
owners.
problem.
Yeah.
Lena
So
ma'am has taken the current problem.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, and then, mobile app is something that they can come approach you, and then you can develop the thing for them. So, and
Right.
this makes the business analyst a job, behind the curtain job much easy, because now they
Exactly.
have all, even the stakeholders have to do is come and, add it or, elaborate
Exactly.
more of their problems, detailed problems.
Yeah. Or you just miss this weekend. You just miss this strength, something like that. Yeah, and the discussion is more streamlined, so you don't waste your time. Efficiency as in business is at business analysis is at peak. Believe me, and you'll feel this thing if you can do this thing in a couple of hours. This is really well thought process. That's what I can say clearly. Anybody have any questions on this?
No, it's very good job,
No,
Lina.
sir.
Uh-huh.
All
Okay,
is
sir.
fine.
Really good.
Okay, great, no problem. Now let's go to some of the boring tools. Boring in the sense these are the artistic tools which we talk about. Now let's try to understand some of the tools which can be labeled differently, which can be similar to others tools. This is a need because whenever interview comes, you shouldn't normally say, I don't know anything. I don't know this tool, right? Because there are quite a few tools which renamed it differently, but they use mostly the similar symbolic set. And this is what we call it as a visual modeling. So what is visual modeling? We try to build some, visions out of our thought process, out of business thought process, out of the vision shared with us, and we try to jot it down on with a pen and paper, or jot it down with any tool which is available on the computer, right? So this is what we call overall building some visual tools. There could be a new tool on the block, might be 3 months down the line, and that might be a hot cake possible. So how do we basically do that thing? We'll see that, and we'll have a look at a couple of other tools, right? We have seen activity diagrams, right? We've seen use case diagram also. Process flow diagram is basically a mix and match of it. Nothing much added, predominantly. You can treat it as an activity diagram mostly. But these are sometimes, if you go to some manufacturing process or robotic process, they call it process flow diagram. So what is process flow diagram? You have these, different boxes which we have used in activity diagram or a flow chart, right? And you can clearly relate those things, how we can have, a flow process flow diagram. And we do use something like swim lanes. Now, what is swim lanes? Swim lanes are the lines basically who depict parallel flows. While making tea, like we pour water in my pot and trying to get my tea powder and sugar from the rack near the stove, right? So whenever I put my pot on the stove, then I'll start dumping sugar, cardamom, whatever I want to do, depending on my way of cooking tea, right? What I do normally, I'll take a pot of water, put it on a gas, just get it warm, let it get warm, and then start putting tea powder and sugar, so that the things got really mixed up. I boil it for a minute or two so that I get really strong tea. I like strong tea, and then pour it in a cup with a bit of milk, and so that I can just revolve the thing and start drinking. That's how I like it. Everybody has its own way of processing things, right? Somebody might let the water boil for a couple of minutes, then put down only the tea powder, then add the other things like ginger, cardamom powder, and whatever they like. So every process has its way of representing, way of swim lanes means alternative flow, parallel flow, concurrent flow, and that's how we work on these things, right? I'll not spend too much time on process flow diagram, but this is just to understand overall how we did it with activity diagram. It's similar thing, right? Then there's something called workflow diagram. Now, what is a workflow diagram? This is basically a diagram which is, I think, a step further in process flow diagram, because here we are trying to basically portray everything according to the result I wanted. So if I want to create, let's say, SRS, so I need to first start building with the use case diagram, or rather than that, before that, I should have a list of requirement with me. I should have a table somewhere where I have a list of qualified requirement. Then I'll get it approved. Then I'll start on the use case diagram. So a couple of complicated requirements, I convert it to the use cases. Then I build some HLDs. So I'll try to collect all the elements, all the ingredients required to build or required to cook the SRS, and then try to walk around that. So this thinking, this understanding is everything towards the results. Process flow is basically more concentration on processes. In workflow, we are more concentrated on result. So if there are quite a few result have to be collected or added together, I'll first try walking through each and every result, how will I get those things, and then collect it at the end and build the final thing. So that's how it normally works, right? So we draw swim lanes for each of these independent work items. That's how they label it. Work items, each and every independent result, what I need to collect, I'll draw it in a swim lanes, separate lanes, and try to collect it together at the end, right? And then how to use activity shape to represent each jobs, even users or humans or a machine, man material machine needs to be done, right? And that's how I collect these diagrams. We'll have a look at good video where we try to how to build this workflow diagram, right? We write work instructions for activities and best practices along this workflow diagram. We normally tend to understand how do we digitizing the thought process, how we digitizing or converting it to a digital thought process, like we see in our attendance management system. We try to collect all the requirement, all the wish list, try to analyze in a such a way that it can be implemented with some IT product and processes. And then we build this workflow diagram saying, okay, whenever the employee will come, he'll put his eye or finger on the biometric or iris scanner, whatever is there, whatever is implemented, and then the iris scanner will collect the data, dump it in a local database, local computer. The local computer will put it to the cloud computer so that that data is available to everybody. Then same process while employee leaving the office, his attendance is marked complete, incomplete, tallied according to his number of holidays taken, number of holidays applied, and so on and so forth. So these kind of workflow diagrams help out to actually understand various alternative paths we choose, various results we are going to create at the end of the day. Let's have a look at this workflow diagram. Okay, let me pull out that video for you, and then we can take questions. Give me a minute, please. Okay, it's a small video, 6-minute video. Let me share this thing with you. Stop share, start share, workflow diagram.
Today we're going to talk about simple process mapping. Process mapping is widely used around the business world, but often it becomes highly complex so that people just end up rolling their eyes and not using it. It's used primarily for IT projects, and that's really a pity because it has a big potential to explain in a visual way how we work. And this is where we have to get back to what process mapping really is. Process mapping is a common way of showing how we work, how work flows. And for this, we only need 4 elements. We don't need the 55 elements that something introduced. We just need 4. And these 4 we're going to go through today. We start with roles, because roles are what matter to people. They show who is responsible for what. This is also where things typically go wrong, not because individuals make mistakes, but because handoffs between roles are not done correctly. So role is like a hat or a t-shirt you can wear. It's not your job title, but it's a job function that you can fulfill. So now we're ready to start. To prepare, I've created a process canvas. I have a swim lanes, I have a process name, and I have a process outcome. The process in this case is handling customer complaints. I've chosen to call it handle.
Yes.
Sir, I cannot understand. I mean, I cannot hear.
Yeah,
properly.
this is a British English. Believe me, this is a
Yeah,
British English. I purposely kept it. Yeah.
And he's
Good.
actually speaking, I think, very in a low tone. So I just cannot hear and understand.
I think this is a
Sir, I am also not able to listen.
It's
Yeah,
breaking,
not
sir.
able to-
The voice is breaking.
The sound is
Okay.
not clear.
Let me what I can say. Let me revise it for you afterwards. Just have a look at it. What he's trying to do. He's trying to basically build a process for workflow diagram for handling a complaint, and then he trying to achieve something like happy customer, right? And then he have 3 swim lanes. One is customer service and software, I believe. No.
Supervisor,
Supervisor.
service representative, and
Supervise.
Survey, okay, something like that. So
Supervisor.
let's try to understand and we'll discuss it out. Please don't worry. I know there are some challenges because of the British English and all, but believe me, you'll have at least 1 or 2 members from British as well. And they really try to speak in their language. They don't really get adapted to the English language at all. That's the way they work, right? Same thing with Germans. So let's try to understand.
Process outcome. Process in this case is handling customer complaints. And I've chosen to call it handle complaint because it's important that the user
जाने तो सुना ही नहीं दे रहा है.
Same here, मुझे भी.
No, just listen. If you keep speaking, the voice will be really reduced at your end. That's how this duplex communication work. So you need to be silent and try to listen. Basically, I'll explain it out. Please don't worry.
Is a happy customer. This sets the objective of the process. It's very important to scope the process.
उस रूम में खेलो ना यार, नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है मुझे, तुम लोग का ठक 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 आवाज आ रहा है.
मैडम म्यूट कीजिए ना प्लीज बोलते वक्त.
Sorry sir.
No problem.
That becomes too long. Then we have swim lanes. The swim lane shows what each role is responsible for. In this case, we have 3 roles: the customer, the service representative, and the supervisor. So when we map the process and we place activities inside the swim lanes, then we know exactly what each role is responsible for, and then we can connect our people to our roles, and then we know what each person is responsible for. So this is essentially the basis that we start with, and these are.
So what we have end result required is happy customer, and we are using customer as an reference, service representative as one, and supervisor as another. So these are the 3 swim lanes. These are the 3 persons who are going to basically play an important part in this handling customer complaint type of example, which we are going to discuss. Okay, let's try to understand how he puts the diagram. The diagramming, drawing the diagram is the most crucial part. Okay, let's try to understand.
First building block, which is the swim lane. So now we need to talk about what starts the process. That's what we call an event. In this case, the event is customer complaint. So event is drawn like a circle, and it has some kind of a name that explains it. In this case, customer complaints. I place this with the customer because he's the one who starts the process. But events are typically external events, something that impact the process, starting, finishing. So it's not exactly part of the process, but it's more showing where the process comes from. Of course, this could be another process as well, but event is often used to start and finish. Now we're going to talk about the third shape. We talked about the event that starts our process, that has happened, the customer has complained. And now the customer service department needs to do something about it. That's where the activity shape comes in. The activity is kind of it's not even a task, it's a bit bigger than a task, it's a job to do. So it may contain multiple tasks. It may last anywhere between a few minutes to several hours. But it is the work of one role. So in this case, we have the service representative needs to accept the complaint. He needs to triage it, understand what's going on, possibly pass it on to others. If it's for him, he needs to handle it. We split this into 2 different activities so they can be allocated to different roles if need be. But these are the activities. Now we've talked about the swim lanes or the roles that show the people that are involved. We talked about the events that start the process. We talked about the activities that contain the work. And now we're going to talk a bit about the decisions that happen in the process. These are important to get into the canvas because they show when to proceed with one activity rather than the other activity. In this case, it may be that the customer service representative was not able to handle the complaint the first time. He needs to make a decision. Is it resolved? Yes, then he can pass it on to the customer. And the customer has to accept and acknowledge it. Or he has to escalate it to a 3rd level, to a supervisor. So this is what the decision does. It really shows how a process splits and the criteria for splitting. So the next step you need to take from here is you need to create the work instructions. Now you have the overview of who does what, and the how is something you have to associate with each activity. So this may be, for instance, specifically who should I talk to for certain activities. It could be what is the documentation, the work instruction that I need in order to complete the steps for this activity. What are the systems I need? How do I need to use them? There may be videos, images, and so on. But this is underneath the process diagram, your process map. This is inside the activity. The how. This is where you explain the how. So you of course noticed that I've used the whiteboard. The whiteboard is great for these initial drawings, the initial brainstorm.
Now let me try to explain it because of the voice, because of the British accents and all. yeah, these are the funny people. And if you go to London, or I was in Leeds for a year. It's a suburb of London, and it was really lovely to understand the way they speak. Right, they use lots of heavy words. They speak from their throat rather than mouth. So it's a really great thing. I enjoy speaking to British quite a few times, because as an Indian, we took our English from British. So Indian English is more British driven than any other English. Even in North American region, the English is basically get clubbed with a couple of other languages, and they soften the complete English, and they do it really well in terms of evolutionary matters. American English is more simple, more mouth spoken than throat spoken. French is more of throat spoken. The British English actually came from French. So French have very big pride and all. Let's not go into the linguistic class. Let's try to stick it over process flow diagram or workflow diagram. So what he's trying to do here, the customer is initiating whatever complaint he's having. So he'll be the kind of actors which are going to play in my workflow diagram. So what I do, I have a submit complaint process from customer. Now, whenever customer submits a complaint, it comes to a service representative or receptionist or app or anything which is basically accepting complaint on his behalf, because the complaint has to come to something, right? It has to hand over from customer to a swim lane, in a different swim lane called accept complaint. It can be a personal pen and paper based complaint, hand it over. It can be sent by post. It can be basically created in database from an Android app or a web page or something like that. So there could be many options. These are basically not clarified, but if you want to clarify, I can have separate process flow diagram for accepting the complaint. So all these boxes, they can have a separate process flow or separate workflow diagram by themselves. Then same thing with the handle complaint. So how do we handle complaint? Do we have a software called Remedy, software for Helpbase, or any software for that matters? If it's, then we'll have these data pushed into new complaint registered, new complaint by so and so customer on so and so region. This is the screenshot, that is the auditory fact, and so on and so forth. So I'll collect the complaint within the system, and then I'll check, is it resolved? Yes, then customer accept, case closed. If it's still in progress, I'll mention it as a work in progress. They call it WIP. So till it's in WIP, it's in a service representative. So all my active complaints, all WIP complaints are normally active complaints. So all our active complaints will be in a service representative lane. And if we need a supervisor, if we need any other clarification, any other third party things to be added to that, then we'll go to somebody like supervisor, we'll go to somebody like other department, we'll go to somebody like shop and try to procure thing and then attach it to it, or try to have another level of support representative who can guide him or her in this challenging situation. If it's resolved, then we'll check with the customer. There's a process for accepting a customer, and then the case is closed. That's how the overall workflow diagram or a process flow diagram normally depicted. Is it understood? And anybody have any question on this?
No, sir. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a simple thing. We normally don't do it, but if you go to manufacturing processes, they have certain workflow diagrams to be drawn normally, so that the line owner, means that supervisor on the ground floor who's trying to manufacture these things, will understand how that process is flowing for him or her, and then he'll try to create the different entities through these, and then he'll design they call it creation floor, where we manufacture things, right? So those scenarios. Okay, so these are a bit of different nomenclature. These are more or less implementation part of it. So analysts normally don't do that, but some interviewer might ask you, so what is a workflow diagram or a process flow diagram, right? So you can tell them process flow diagram is basically depicting the process. Workflow diagram is basically depicting the results, or it's a result oriented activities or process oriented, so on and so forth. And you can basically explain the activity diagram instead of process flow or workflow diagram. The explanation is almost pretty much similar. Okay. Let's try to hear his closing statement.
But where do you go from here? You take a photo of this and share. It's not very practical if decisions change, if activities change. So you need, at this point, to put it into an electronic format that is collaborative. That's the only way forward, because your process is very likely to change when it meets reality. This is just the as-is process that we think it is today. But once we involve real representatives of the service, department, supervisors, perhaps also the customer, then things will change. And that's where we need to be very adaptive and where we need a format that is easy to change. That concludes my overview of simple process mapping. I hope you enjoyed watching, and stay tuned for our next episode.
So this is also called as a process mapping. So that's another, label added to our kitty. Okay, now there's about that. So there's nothing much on these things. And then there's something called pestle analysis. Now PS is political, economic, social, technological factors. Now here, rather than SWOT, we are trying to basically build the differentiation in terms of environmental factors. Again, pestle analysis are, hot favorite of some, which are basically into casino and those kind of industries. They use these analysis even today. But if you're trying to make any games or game development, then they use pestle analysis, because that's how their products are targeted within the given environment. So this is basically a detailed environmental analysis than a personal trait analysis. So what is called personal trait analysis, this is an environmental analysis, right? So there are pros and cons for every of these analysis. So wherever you go, wherever you work, you might choose a specific tool, and then we can deliberate on that. We will spend some days on working that tool. If you join something like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, I believe you have all the tools and technologies needed to work there, right? If any new tools comes, let's say 2 months down the line, I am there to explain it to you. I'll study myself. I'll spend a week or so, and then I'll come back to you, and then we'll go through it, how it's used, what are the pros and cons, and why they've chosen those tools. We can have in-depth understanding of the those things as well. So please don't worry. If somebody shares any new tool name with you for analysis, don't get baffled. It mostly relates to some of the tools which we have used, and we can really relate to those things and try to understand in there. Okay, so let's have a look at this pestle analysis. Now, pestle analysis, as I told you, it talks about mostly understanding the environmental factors. So we are talking about political, economic, social, and technological factor, right? Let me share that video with you, and we can go over this pestle analysis. Could you see pest analysis explained?
Hello and welcome to today's lesson.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. Let's have a let's take a minute to understand.
That can help you understand the macro environment in which an organization functions. Now, suppose a company is considering two options. Should it develop a new product, or should it expand into a new country? How would a company decide which opportunity is the right one to pursue? Where would you even start in answering this kind of big strategic question? Well, a pest analysis can be a useful tool in answering these big strategic questions. Now, PEST is an acronym standing for political, economic, social, and technological. And sometimes you'll see it referred to as pestle analysis, which is essentially the same analysis, but where you add legal and environmental factors. Now, PEST provides a view of the different macroeconomic issues that might affect an organization. And the idea is that by understanding what's changing in the world around you, you'll be better able to make good strategic decisions. Now, this is sometimes known as environmental scanning, and it is an input to setting strategy. Before we look at pest analysis in detail, let's take a quick step back and look at the big picture to give you some context. You can think of a company's environment consisting of three levels. Now, these three levels are the internal environment, the micro environment, and the macro environment. Now, the internal environment consists of factors that are internal to the organization, so things like employees, assets, technology systems, etc. The next level is the micro environment. Now, these are factors outside the company, but they're still very closely related to the company. So these are things like suppliers, buyers, competitors, and subcontractors. And the final level is the macro environment. And these are factors that can influence the organization, but the organization itself has no control over these factors. So these are things like political factors, economic factors, social and technological factors. Now, these are the factors that a pest analysis will examine. Now, before you decide what your strategy is going to be, it's a good idea to use strategy tools at all three levels. So, for example, at the internal level, you might use a SWOT analysis, or at the micro level, you might use Porter's 5 forces, for example. But what we're doing today is we're looking at this macro level using a pest analysis. Now, the aim of a pest analysis is to collect information about macroeconomic factors to gain insight. And this insight can then be used to make better decisions. So first we have political factors. Politics and the action of a government has a huge impact on how businesses conduct themselves. It also determines how favorable a country is to do business within. This part of the pest analysis is about understanding how shifts in political power structures might impact your business. So for example, consider a country where the government introduces a new piece of legislation stating that all companies must be carbon neutral within 7 years. For some businesses, that's going to result in increased costs, but for other businesses, that might provide a huge opportunity in that country. Next, we have economic factors. And the economic factors part of a pest analysis concerns understanding the economic prospects for a country. So for example, you want to look at shifting demographics, fiscal policy, market demand, interest rates, and how infrastructure is improving. And using this information, you can then determine if it makes sense to operate within this country or within this region. So for example, the economy of China has grown massively over the last 2 decades, and that's evidenced by high GDP growth almost every year. And this GDP growth combines with a huge internal market of well over 1 billion people. And those two factors combined present a huge opportunity for many firms, especially because many Western markets are saturated. It's hard to grow. Next, we have social factors. So these include all factors that are social or cultural within a particular country or particular society. So they include things like career expectations, lifestyle preferences, education levels, attitudes, and entrepreneurial spirit. So for example, in France, it's still very common practice for employees to take a 2-hour lunch break. In China, office workers expect to receive a promotion every year. Now, to be successful, businesses simply need to understand these nuances, if they're going to thrive. Next, we have technological factors, and these mean big technology shifts. Now, rapid technological change has impacted many businesses since the Industrial Revolution, and technological factors can influence how you deliver your product or service to the market. Now, they can affect both your consumers and the company itself. So for example, does increased smartphone and broadband usage offer new opportunities for products, or does increased automation make a previously uneconomic market finally accessible? Now, technological change is obviously vital to staying competitive. From the Industrial Revolution to the present day, it's been a driving force behind globalization. The basic process to perform a pest analysis is as follows. So firstly, determine the most important pest factors to collect. Now, there is an almost infinite number of factors that you could collect to perform your pest analysis, but the key to a successful pest analysis is to begin by determining which are the most important factors for your organization. And the companion article to this video, which I've linked to below the video, provides a big list of factors you might want to consider collecting to get you started. Now, step 2 is to collect the information. So once you have determined the factors you want to collect, the next step is to agree who's going to be responsible for collecting each factor and by when. Step 3 is to analyze the data. So now that you've collected the data, you should have good insight into the major trends that are taking place. So it's now time to analyze your data and see how that's going to impact your organization. Now, this step commonly takes place in the form of a brainstorming session. And in the session, you look for, firstly, opportunities. What trends can you see in the data that could provide an opportunity for your business? And secondly, threats. What trends can you see in the data that have the potential to undermine or jeopardize your business? Now, you might find it useful to weigh each of the factors according to how important it is to your business, and that's going to highlight the most important factors, which again helps you make better decisions. And the final step is to take action. So once you've completed the test, you're rarely immediately able to take action, as it turns out. And that's because, as we described at the beginning of the video, pest analysis is just an input to the strategy process. There's many other factors you may need to consider before deciding your strategy. But one important thing to do is to decide which factors you will track on an ongoing basis. You should not just track the data, but agree when it will be reviewed again. Now, some common pitfalls to avoid when conducting your pest analysis include making assumptions rather than collecting hard facts, trying to collect too much data, as we've already mentioned. There's an almost infinite number of factors you could collect, as we've said. Now, also conducting your pest analysis and then forgetting about it is a big pitfall. Factors that are important to your business should be tracked and monitored over time. And finally, thinking that a pest analysis is all you need to do to formulate your strategy for a market. It isn't. As we've already covered, a pest analysis is just one input to strategy creation. So here we have an example of a completed pest analysis. And in this example, we've created a pest analysis for a company that is considering launching its electric car in the United Kingdom. Now, as you can see from the image, we've collected many macroeconomic factors that could potentially have a huge impact on our electric car business, including government policies are very favorable. The local population strives to be environmentally friendly, and this is especially true for young people. And finally, the low range of electric cars is putting off consumers right now. Now, what we can do is we can then use these really important macroeconomic factors to help shape the strategy of our business. So in summary, a pest analysis involves scanning different macroeconomic factors to understand long-term trends. And from this, you can understand how these trends might impact on your business. Now, it helps you avoid macroeconomic data overload because you have to decide what factors are the most important for you to collect, what factors are the most important for your business. And this data can then be used to help you take advantage of opportunities locally whilst avoiding threats. Now, the basic idea, as we said at the beginning of the video, is that by having a better understanding of what's happening in the world around you, you will be able to make better strategic decisions.
Okay, so this is basically pestle analysis. Does anybody have any questions? Again, this is mostly used in a product companies where we try to build product, and depending upon the scenarios and the local environmental factors, we try to basically get it more aligned accordingly, so that whatever product we are building are more aligned towards the given region, towards the given targeted regions or continent for that matters. Does anybody have any questions?
So after listening this, I think can chocolate production will be the example for
Yes,
this?
definitely. Means chocolate, see, like in India, we can't use any other thing like non-veg and all. If you basically have a look at that chocolate thing, right? There was a big brawl on using cow fat in Cadbury's chocolate. And then there were, that suit gone for at least 6 years or so. The production have dipped down like left and right. So then they came up with a different, sort of, what you can say, chocolate lineup and all those things. So these environmental factor does matter a lot. The fries, the McDonald's fries in India are different than what we get in North America. similar with European region. Even the burgers in Bahrain, burgers in India and burgers in US are totally different. Means I've been there, so that's how I can explain it to you. But yes, again, these are all environmental factors our product should get aligned with, so that they could achieve the maximum results. And this is basically a kind of product planning which goes in before we strategically align our product for a given regions. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? These are again far and few, so you might need not to do it. But if you want, go ahead. It's good to be practiced, good to be put in your analysis shoe now and then, and try to utilize these different tools available. The best tools to try: use case diagram, high level diagram. Those tools, if you can try out more and more, the more effective you can be. Even you can try jotting down activity diagram. And yes, this is not the end of the tools. Let me okay, yeah, this is one of the another main tools which I want you to be trying. Okay, over here I normally explain how analysts closely working with development and QA engineer. I'll explain it later on. Please don't this thing. Let's try to understand another critical tool or another philosophical tools which analysts use, and you can use this in day-to-day life as well. This is called work breakdown structure. We break our work to understand in depth, to build estimation, to build schedules, planning, strategies, tactics, and everything, frankly speaking, is one of the most basic and important for any project management tool set. Yes, this is a project management tool set, not an analysis tool set. So analysis at a least, the management it at the most. That's how the tools is get categorized mostly. So in interview you might not come across WBS, that's how it's referred, WBS. But yes, if a project managers want you to understand the estimation sort of if the analysts are actively involved in estimations, right? Whenever you present budget, whenever you as an analyst, there are some organizations who normally require you to present budget as well, so that a cost mota, right? So what do you think, how much this implementation of attendance management system enhancement will cost to Infosys? As me working in Infosys as an analyst, as me talking to Infosys CEOs and State Farm CEOs and CTO to understand their vision and try to build it in a solution. My organization, wherever I'm trying to basically submit the idea of or vision of this project, product, or solution, they'll ask me, so what do you think was a ballpark estimate on timelines and budget? So how do you do it? You do it with WBS. We do it at an elementary level. This can go into the nth factor. We will see how it progresses, and how we can do it. It's a very simple thing. Please don't worry. And if you want to practice, I would really love to give you a WBS example of as an homework. Let's try to do that afterwards. Let's try to understand how WBS we can plan, how these activities are broken down for estimations, for each and every strategic result we expected, and all those things. So this is a quite good old tool. Means WBS was there from, I think, 1800th century. Even British, Americans, they used to build this WBS for each and every of their fight plans, each and every of their progression to capture new land, and so on and so forth. So these WBS are there for quite long time. It's really evolved tool now. We have quite a few software to support it. But again, as an analyst, I would like to use simple word or pen and paper will do, right? Let's try to understand WBS from this good video, so that we can discuss on how we can basically take an example or homework on these things. Give me a minute.
Sir, quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so about the chocolate. Sorry, I don't mean to digress. So what happened with the chocolate? The milk fat was people didn't like that.
I couldn't get your question. Sorry for that.
You said milk fat was taken out of the chocolate, right?
No. Okay, not notepad. Milk fat.
Yeah,
okay,
milk fat.
to be the cow the chocolate to be crunchy, you have to use some, see, milk is a gooey, right? Milk is not hardened. So to get that click, right, whenever you break the chocolate, they were using some cow fat, so that it's get, even our fries, they use those cow fat. If you look at the North American
Cow
region,
fat, not milk fat. Okay.
not notepad. Sorry. I think, pardon me for that pronunciation. Yes, this happens. Okay.
Okay. So it was actually non-veg. Right.
Yeah. See, good or bad, it again, all how you brought up, how do you think, and that's more to do with your cultural environment rather than any product for that matters. That's how I came to that conclusion. But yes,
Okay.
again,
Thank you.
I again feel bad whenever I whenever I try to eat non-veg. That's a kind of upbringing. Means even we don't eat eggs in our house, so
Yep.
it's a bit of inner struggle rather than struggle with anything to do with the environmental thing. So in India specifically, I don't know, we have the way our culture is evolved, and I'll not categorically not say religion. The way culture is evolved, we are more lenient, more Aishnu, or Saishnu, whatever you want to call it. So we don't kill things to eat. That's a predominant nature of our upbringing. So that's how. Okay, we are getting off topic.
Okay.
So you understand, right?
Yes.
What I was trying to explain.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Let's try to understand WBS. This is a really great tool. We had a couple of hands-on workshop in our last session, and we'll do it in this session also.
In this video, I want to answer the question, what is a work breakdown structure, or WBS? A work breakdown structure is quite simply a tool that breaks the work down into a structure. Let's say a little bit more about this though. The work breakdown structure is the principal tool that articulates a scope on our project, and it does so in a highly structured way. At its simplest,
It just went.
Sir, it was struck. Maybe this
Pause, I guess.
or lost us. So,
I think Ravindra has lost.
yeah.
level of the hierarchy with individual tasks or activities that the person who will carry them out recognizes as a single coherent task that they fully understand. Now, the representation I put on the screen is very useful for understanding a work breakdown structure, but it's absolutely rubbish for representing it across a large project. It will just rapidly get out of hand. And so what we actually do is we number across the principal activities, and then for each thing that flows from those activities, we give it a sub-numbering system. And so we end up with a comprehensive list of every activity that needs to be done, with the scope of the project. And the proper way to plan projects is to develop your work breakdown structure before you start thinking about dependencies and sequence, which will of course give you your network chart, or elapsed times for each of the tasks, which will allow you to draw up your Gantt chart.
Okay, network charts and Gantt charts are basically project managers' main critical artifacts which project manager create. Okay, we'll have a look at it. If you want to do PMN, I can discuss that on. But overall, that's out of the analysis scope as such. So we are just trying to concentrate on WBS. Okay, and it's normally 3 levels. So 1 level, 1.1 level, 1.1.1 level. That's the maximum we go down. Let's try to understand him.
The best way to produce a simple work breakdown structure if you're working on a small project is with a word processor tool like Microsoft Word. If, on the other hand, you're working on a larger, more rigorous project, then you will no doubt have some form of project management software that will allow you to capture every activity, allocate unique reference numbers to them, and create your work breakdown structure as a preliminary step to producing your network chart, your critical path, and your Gantt chart. Tools such as Microsoft Project are designed to do this. A good work breakdown structure will be MECE, M-E-C-E, and that stands for mutually exclusive and completely exhaustive. That is to say, mutually exclusive, each task is clearly distinct from each other task. There is no overlap between the tasks, and completely exhaustive means that everything you need to do on your project is covered on your work breakdown structure. The thing that many project managers miss out of their work breakdown structure are all the tasks and activities concerned with managing the project. So as a matter of habit, I will always create one work stream, one major area of work on my work breakdown structure labeled project management. That way I capture all the tasks it takes to manage the project. And then when I start budgeting the project and allocating resources, I have those tasks ready to budget and resource. And that ensures that I don't forget the project management activities, and I've got the budget and the resources to carry them out properly. And I'm going to end with what is sometimes perceived as a bit of a rant. It's about the difference between the UK approach to work breakdown structures on the one hand and the US approach on the other. Neither is right, but here's the rant bit. One of them is a little bit more right than the other. No clues. So, in the UK, our work breakdown structure is written as a set of activities or tasks. If you're a linguist, then you can think of them as written with verbs. The US approach is to break down the work by breaking down the deliverables or the products for your project. So at the top level, you have the completed project, and at subsequent levels below, you have more and more detailed descriptions and smaller components of the product set you need to create. In the UK, we would call that a product breakdown structure. Both of them will give you the right results. So why do I prefer the UK approach? Well, because it's a work breakdown structure that breaks down the work. If you want a product breakdown structure, and oftentimes you will, then you can create a product breakdown structure in parallel. And because a Gantt chart and a network chart are about activities, to me, it makes more sense to develop a work breakdown structure in terms of activities or work. But whichever approach you choose to adopt, my tip is to adopt one approach and not to try to mix the two. That way lies madness. So a work breakdown structure is a simple, powerful tool that far too many project managers put to one side and don't apply. It's a tool that enables you to fully articulate your scope of work.
Okie dokie. Any question for me on this? Let me share this thing with you. Where do I go? I go here. I'll go share. Yes. So normally we break down the work, right? So let's say if I'm trying to, let's take our, normal making tea type of project, and then try to build a work breakdown structure on that. So how do you do it? My main element is making tea. My sub element is basically, let's say, collecting pot, or collecting water, collecting tea, cardamom, whatever ingredients I want to collect. Those ingredient collections. Then I try to collect, put it together, try to attach the process on it, try to process the product. Then get the product, as we need filtering, so get the product to different, qualitative stages, and then present it to the present the final product to the customer or to me, or to anybody who wants to drink tea with me, something like that, right? So let's try to understand how work breakdown structure works in a typical scenario. So if you're from, let's say, a construction background, you use this work down structure day in, day out. So the way you plan, you first build the, basic, what I can say, foundation. You have some blueprint ready. Then you build this foundation. You erect columns and pillars at certain planned places, and then start building one by one, right? So it's like the work is segregated in some elements. You prioritize them from left to right again, right? And then we try to break it down to a level where one unit quantity can be estimated. So blueprint creation is my first task one. Then acquiring land can be task second. Then planning the basic, what you can say, building the groundwork, right? You need to put down some holes in the ground to put that pillar in like 10 feet in, and so on and so forth. So that can be my third task, something like that. And then I'll break down the first, like building a blueprint. So I need an architect. So I'll go to an architect and I'll say, architect, we have a plot of 60 feet by 60 feet, or 60 meter by 60 meter. Could you please give me a blueprint? I need to have 2 guest rooms, 3 bedrooms, one big hall, one kitchen on the ground, and then this is how I want to have a 3-story house or something like that sort. He'll give these wish lists to the designers, to the architect. He'll start building this blueprint first, and there'll be some reviews. So I'll give, say, let's say 2 days to build him the initial blueprint, right? How do I come to an estimation? Because I know what needs to be done in a blueprint, mota mota. So rather than 2 days, means like around 16 hours of work, it can be 3 days. So it can be, a normal industry standard is 20% escalation or reduction. That normally happens on the ballpark, and that's how we work it out. And that's how this WBase is normally used to do estimation, even in good old days. Again, this is a gut feel based estimation. This is not a scientific estimation methodology, but still we use these estimation. Now, more scientific estimation methodologies are user stories and the other things. We'll come to that as well, so, after some time. But let's try to understand WBase, right? Any question on WBase as of now? Anybody wants to explain what you understood from WBS? Let's try that thing. Anybody?
I still have to reinforce and read more, so I can't explain.
Could you speak louder, ma'am?
Still have to reinforce and learn more and read more. So
no problem. I can understand. No problem. Let's see who we have from last batch.
Yes, sir. If we take the example of a paper for this, paper usually the production will be done in one. Paper. If it is a Hindu paper, Hindu, and it will be distributed to various places.
Right,
I mean to
various
say
region distribution points, right?
Different states, and from different states, if we take states as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, from different states, if we take the example of I don't know much about North India, so I'm going to South India. If I take an example of Telangana, then it will go to different districts like Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Nizamabad, like that, and from district to districts to cities,
right? Very
and
right.
And cities to towns, towns to villages. That's what I understood. Is that
perfect? Perfect. Yeah, well said, well said. And to each and every village, I can estimate, right? From Vijayawada, if he's going to a typical village, I have a number with me, right? So whenever that paper van leaves from Hindu office, let's say from Hyderabad, I will have an estimation by my gut feeling or by my previous learnings or historical analysis, like how much time it took normally. Is it took 6 hours? It took few minutes. So I can estimate. So the basic, what you can say, most important fact in WBS, like if you go to the third level, you should be able to estimate the normal ballpark, time required, effort required, or budget required for that matters. And that's how we review our, estimation in the, WBS way, right?
Okay.
Okay. I believe we have Richaji also with us. She was basically going to, take the user story basically. Richaji, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good
Good
evening.
morning, Richa ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, sir. How about
Great,
you?
great. We are all great. We are all waiting for you. So let's, start working of understanding something called user story. Now, user story is a new addition to analysis kitty, where we are trying to understand how the latest modern techniques of user story is going to get, used by analysis. And Richa is going to explain it. This is again one of the artifacts which we collect during our estimation, during our agile approach, right? Richa ma'am, please take over.
Yes. Okay. So, good evening, all. Some of you I'm meeting for the very first time, and good evening, Leena ji. And some of you
Yeah.
are.
Good evening,
Good
ma'am. I
evening,
am the
ma'am.
first. I am the first class listening from you.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't call me ma'am. My name is very short. It's just
Okay.
Richa. Call me with that
Okay.
only. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay, so that's pretty much good amount we have today, like good audience we have today. So now, how are all? All are doing good?
Yeah, we are good, ma'am.
Yeah, we are
Yes.
good.
How are you?
We are doing good. How about
Yeah,
you?
doing
Good,
good.
good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So now, I want to know how many of you remember about user stories. My first batch.
I do.
Hello.
Yeah. I do.
You want to leave?
No. You said how many of us?
Acha, acha, acha. Okay. Rudra. So, Rudra, will you explain what is user story?
Yes. So user story is basically the customer saying this is what we need from the client, or the client, what the client needs from. Sorry. Okay. Let me just think for a second.
Mm-hmm. No worries.
It's what the client got from the product and told it from their point of view.
Yes.
Yeah, like what product or project they need. They will give an idea.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hello?
Yeah, and I think it's a very small unit, in agile, like where you have to work, on which you have to work.
Very right. Very right. Okay. Ravindraji, can I share my screen? Ravindraji?
Let you make you host. Give me a minute.
I think I can share my screen. Don't worry. Acha.
Okay, I'll just stop
Okay.
share. Could you?
Yes. Yeah, now I can share my screen.
Ji, I actually lost sound for a second. Can you say can you tell me what the answer was?
Rudra, you need to speak up basically. We couldn't hear you.
Sorry, I lost sound for a second. Can you tell me what the answer was? Sorry.
No, we could not hear you that time. You just started with the user story. What do you think about user story? And then we lost you.
No, what Rudra
Okay.
is saying, like he thought you explained about user story, so he was asking like, can you repeat it again, something like that. I guess, yeah.
Okay. So, do you remember this one? This slide?
Thank you, Rupaji.
Richa, can I share my thoughts on user story?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Basically, user stories are the minimum viable product which we can have in a particular sprint. This is the smallest unit, which is a kind of requirement which is independent of other requirements which we have to build and complete.
Okay. It's not minimum viable product. Minimum viable product is something very different. Okay. It is the smallest unit of work on which you are going to work. Okay. So as we have picked up the example of um, uh, building a swing on a tree, right? Do you remember all? Do you remember this example? Building a swing on a tree?
I think so. I'm not quite sure now.
Rudra, how can you say that you don't remember that example?
Yeah, I can remember that, ma'am. Sorry,
Mhm.
sorry, Richa ji. I can
Oh
remember.
It's
yeah.
okay. Now you remember this?
Yes.
Yes,
So what was the requirement? Building a swing on a tree, right?
yes,
Building a swing on a tree is the complete requirement which you got from your customer. Now you need to break it down into multiple things, right? Which kind of rope they want, which kind of seat they want, which kind of tree they want, what should be the height of the tree, right? So many things could be there, right? So finding out um, or the smallest part of the work out of this requirement would be your user story. Like, uh, what could be the work included into this building a swing? You need to arrange a tree of the particular height which has been described by the client. That is one task for you, or one smallest part for you. The second part is finding out the rope of the described material by the customer. You need to find out that particular material's rope, and the seed which has been decided by customer, which kind of seed they want, right? So these all are the smallest part of the work. So now these smallest part would be considered as the user story. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Are you people getting it?
Yes.
So now, how we write the user story, that I have given you the structure, that the user story has their own structure in which we have to write it down, right?
Yes.
So what is the template of user story? As a I want to, so that I can do this. This is the basic structure. Okay. So if I take the example of our own building a swing on a tree. So as a user, I want I want a I want a comfortable seat of wooden material so that I can sit comfortably on it. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Here we have taken another example, like as a registered user, I want to change my password so that I can keep my account secure. This is the user story, right? change my password. Changing a password is the minimum amount of work which you can do in the e-commerce site, right? So that is the smallest part of work. And how you are going to write it down in this template. As a registered user, I want to change my password so that I can keep my account secure. ठीक है? Recall हुआ कि नहीं हुआ?
Yes, total recall.
You got recall it. Another example. As a website visitor, I want to subscribe to my mail for a product so I can get product updates through email. You have the option to notify products availability on e-commerce site, right? That notification thing is the smallest part of the work out of the entire e-commerce product. I'm taking class. Okay, so where were I? Notifications. So the entire e-commerce site is a project, right? Is the total amount of work which you need to do, out of which subscription or notification for the particular product is the smallest part of the work which you have to work on, right? So how you are going to write it down? As a website visitor, I want to subscribe to my mail for a product so that I can get the product updates through email. We all have done this, right? Everyone is using e-commerce site for their shopping.
Yes.
Yes. And if you like some product, but that product is not available, then what will you do? You'll just click that button that notify me. Whenever it is available, you'll get the notification, right? Right?
Yes.
Huh. So that notification part, building, now consider with the as you are developing this e-commerce site, right? So now you have to work on the entire e-commerce site, wherein notification part is the smallest part of the work which you need to do. And you need to define this task in terms of user story. Then how are you going to write down the user story? In this way. Okay. So this is the structure of writing user story. As a, whatever is the role you want to define here, you have to define. Okay. As a registered user or as a website visitor, these are the roles, right? I want to. What is your need? With this role, what is your need? You need to mention here. I want to change my password. I want to subscribe to my mail for a product so that I can do. What can you do? By all these, why you want to have this feature in your product? You're saying that I want to change my password. Why do you want to have the password change option in the product? So that I can keep my account secure. You have given the reason behind it, why you wanted to have this feature, right? So you have explained everything in the user story, right? As who, what do you want, and why do you need it? Are you getting it? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No? So it's so simple that who, what, and why, right? Who? Think on the perspective. Who is going to use this product? Who would be the end user? Okay. If we consider about the e-commerce side, so there could be how many type of users you can think of?
Risha, get up.
Are you talking to us?
Sorry, I was not on mute.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So if we consider the example of e-commerce side, which all type of users you can think of, there could be a admin user who is going to manage everything, right? Next, who could be the person? Customer care users. Next, who could be the users? The end user, the buyers, right? Who want to log in and buy the products. Without login, you will not allow that person to buy anything from your site. Why? Why do you don't get allowed to buy anything from e-commerce site without logging into it? Anyone?
Data will be secure.
Data would be secure and you can anyways trace your order where
Order,
it is.
yeah. Yes.
If you continue as a guest user, that will be very difficult to trace your order. And in future also you cannot see what have you ordered from this particular e-commerce site, right? You cannot see the history of your order, right? And other than this, website owner also want to know who all are the buyers from him and which kind of buyer you are. Like, are you buying so many? Are you like buying lot many things from the site, from that e-commerce site? So that particular person, that particular buyer can get additional offers from the website, right? So they want to analyze the data, which type of customers I have, who is buying many things from my e-commerce site. How can I encourage them to continue buying from my site? There are a lot many things behind that. It is just data securing as per the end user's perspective, but as per the website owner, there could be lot many things behind it. Okay. So you as a BA, you need to know the structure of user stories, and definitely you would be going to write the user stories. And if at all you are writing out the user stories, you should be knowing what is the structure of it, what is the best practice of it, how you are going to write it. Okay.
So Richa ji, as a BA, we have to take this user story template for the end users or whom
We are
from which
developers.
perspective?
You need to write this user story to explain the work to the development team. You would have a development team, right? Who are going to work on your requirements. Whatever requirement the customer has provided you, they are going to work on that only, right?
Yes.
So to them, how you are going to explain it, and you have to write it down, right? Verbal communication would not work over IT industry.
Yeah, I am asking that from which perspective we have to write this user stories. I mean, if this is take an example of Amazon as
Mhm.
one person is buying from Amazon.
Hmm.
So from the customer side of view, we have to take this template, or from Amazon side of view, we have to take write this template.
No, from the customer point of view, you have to write the user stories.
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
Okay. Whenever you are writing out the user story, so what kind of like person for whom you are adding this feature into the product? You're adding a feature into the product by writing down the user story, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
change a
got it.
password. Change my password is beneficial for whom? For end user who
Yes,
is going
yeah,
to use it.
yeah,
Yes,
yes,
customers.
yes.
So
Okay,
you need to think as of the customer that why he would be requiring the change password feature. So that's why you are explaining it so that I can keep my account secure. ठीक है?
okay.
हाँ. If you are adding a feature for admin people, ठीक है? Then you need to write here as the administrator. I want to manage my users.
Okay,
ठीक है? Manage my
okay.
users so that I can give access to different users.
Mhm.
Are you getting it now?
Yes.
Hmm. So this way you
Okay.
need to think कि अगर if I'm saying that the administrator want to manage their users, so on what basis they want to manage it? Access related they want to manage it, right? Different kind of customers can get the different access on the website. If at all it is a customer care user, then what could be the access to him? He could see everyone's order status, right? Which is not
Yes,
visible to
customer.
customers,
Yes.
but it is visible only to the customer care person.
Mhm.
So that is what it is.
Okay.
Ravindra, I think someone is waiting in the lobby. Ravindra, can you check?
Yeah, Deepthi is waiting, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Ravindra,
Any problem? Yeah, please go ahead.
yes, someone was waiting in the lobby. I guess it was Deepthi. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's there.
yeah. I have,
Yeah,
I believe Deepika was there. I have
yeah,
admitted her. No problem.
yeah, sure. Thank
And I will
you.
make you. No problem.
Okay, so this is what all about user stories. Any doubt, anything you want to discuss on this?
Richa ji, this is user stories, not minimum viable product, you said?
No, no. Minimum viable product is the set of different user story by which we can deploy those set of user stories to customer and that is having some kind of like meaning to customer. So that is minimum viable product.
That's a sprint, one sprint.
It could be delivered in one sprint, it could be delivered in multiple sprints. That depends. I'm saying which is giving value to the customer, okay, by which he can use it. In the first sprint, whatever is been completed, they that part of the product may or may not be useful.
Okay.
I have a question, Richaji. Most of the companies, they have the like a ready-made template, we just fill it up and present it as a user story, or you have to create the entire thing? Do they have any prepaid like templates? You just fill it up.
Most of the companies have this kind of like they don't have the template. If you are using the tool, where there you have to write it down,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
You have to write it down manually.
Okay.
But they may say that this is our best practice which you need to follow.
Yeah, but there is like a certain standards that every company has that you have to follow, right? Or it's a free format. I'm sure there is some structured, like a standardized.
It depends on organization to organization.
Okay.
Okay,
But
but
normally,
basically this is the structure.
Yes. Normally, Leena ji, this is mostly in Excel sheet, if not on a web page. Normally, what Richard was meaning, you'll have a web page normally given on your mobile or on your screen, where you normally try to enter as in who is a registered user. I want to what I want to do, those kind of scenario. So it's like filtered data collection. That's the template here, right? We are trying to categorize different. Understanding of requirement under different different of these verbs. These are verbs, right? If I'm not mistaken on the English part of it. So that's how we collect. So we segregate whenever we enter these things. That's all, and that's what the templatization is all about, rather than having any particular these things. These are normally tables, Excel sheets. That's how we use it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Richa ma'am,
It
am
could
I
be
right in that
it
scenario?
could be yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. It could be Excel, or if you are using a tool, let's say if you are using a tool of TFS, Team Foundation system, then you will get the just like there you need to write down each and everything. Okay.
Okay. But but what I mean is, this is not one thing we're talking about, like numerous requests and numerous mm, uh, requirements. So we have to write every requirement in the same format.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Be it hundreds of requirement, be it thousands of requirement, you
Okay.
have to write down
Okay.
in the same way. Otherwise, what will happen if you write down just change password feature need to be implemented, right? Just for an example, you have just written change my password feature should be implemented. Okay. And you have not explained it in this way. So now when the development team reads it out, they may have the assumptions in their mind.
Okay.
Okay. And now if they build something else,
Uh,
something related like building a swing between the trunk, so that is also the end result of incomplete requirement description.
Wow.
Okay, are you getting it now,
Yes,
Leena ji?
yes, 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 yes.
So you need to explain it in detail so that there is no assumptions related to requirement.
Wow. But then this requirement, you can like at a Scrum meeting, you can present it and then elaborate more, getting right.
But in IT industry, there is less value to verbal discussions,
Hmm.
verbal confirmations.
Okay.
Okay. mostly we prefer to have written communication on the confirmation part of anything.
Okay.
Okay, so if you are going to give any kind of confirmation, it is preferred to have it written.
Got it.
Whatever you discuss, either you first discuss and then you write it down somewhere and get confirm it, or you write it down first and then you can discuss.
Got it.
Got it?
Got it.
So,
Why to have the written communications? Because in future you will have some evidence that this is what we have discussed and you have not made it like that. Okay, and that is very much needed in IT industry, believe me.
Yeah, I believe you. So this is where the RTM comes into effect, right? Require traceability,
Yes,
uh,
everything.
management.
By
Yeah.
this only you can trace everything. Whatever is written in the user story is the same thing has been implemented in the
Yeah.
product or not.
Perfect.
Okay. So testers are also going to use your user stories. They'll read it. They'll create the test cases according to the requirements mentioned here. Okay. According to this only they will be testing the product.
Yeah, got it.
In this, you can also mention about the acceptance criteria. What is your acceptance criteria? After these three things, you can explain here about the acceptance criteria, right? Like the change my password, it should have the acceptance criteria. Like it should have minimum 8 characters, one numeric value, and minimum one special character should be there, right? These are the acceptance criteria for change my password. Okay, so if you want to describe the acceptance criteria, you can also describe it after these three things, as I want to, so that I can. And after there, here you can mention the acceptance criteria, and you can list out n numbers of things which is related to this particular function. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, somebody was asking some question.
yeah, it's me, Richa ji.
Mhm.
In the before slide, I saw agile versus waterfall. May I know what is that? As it is a first class for me, I didn't
So
understand.
don't worry. Who's this? Who's this? Sorry, I have not seen who is.
Manasa, Manasa,
Manasa.
Manasa.
Manasa,
Yeah.
please don't worry. After this BA and QA class, I'm going to take your classes related to Agile and what is the difference between Waterfall and Agile. Okay,
Okay.
this is just the revision for the batch one. We are preparing them for next steps, so that's why I am here. But once Ravindra ji is done with his BA and QA stuff, then I'll come into the picture. Okay, and you don't worry, I am going to tell you what is the difference between waterfall and agile.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think you explained the tree thing like very nicely. So can you please explain that again? Because that made it like very well, it synced in. So I mean, it all synced in after that.
I did not get you, Rudra. Actually, my kid is also here, so sorry. I did not get you.
Okay.
You want me to explain user stories again?
No, not the user stories. The tree diagram, like you were explaining how the pictures, it made a lot of sense after you showed that.
Ah, okay.
The way you said it was very nice.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, This picture.
Yes, that's it.
Right. So see, this is also the result of incomplete description of the requirement. Okay. This is what you have understood and you have written down in the user story fashion, and this is what your development team has understood and made it. Now, is this is this having any kind of meaning? Will
No.
it be usable by anyone?
No.
No. So what is the end result? Your efforts, your money, your time, everything is wasted,
Right.
right? So you need to be very cautious while writing user stories. While understanding the requirement, you need to be very cautious. What exactly that person is asking for? If if the person has asked many questions related to this requirement, then this could have resulted in something like this or something like this, right? But that person has just taken the accepted it as the swing on the tree, and that person have not asked any further question, but he has assumed things. An assumption resulted into this, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Hmm. Any doubt on user stories?
Nope.
No? So
I'm good.
thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Ravindra ji? Ravindra ji
Yes,
is
madam.
not there.
Go ahead, please.
Yes. So I'm done with the user story part.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Let me start again.
Thank you so
We are
much.
done in time, basically. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you.
Great, no problem. So we had a look at work breakdown structure. Uh, Anybody else have a question right now for me? We'll revise work breakdown structure. We'll quickly revise user story next time, right? And then we can take it up ahead on the last stage of business analysis, as an business analysis training capsules. So there'll be another 2 sessions as far as business analysis go. Then we'll have a quick workshop on overall business analysis only. Then we'll go to quality assurance capsule of our training, and then QC and Agile Scrum. That's how the overall flow of the business analysis learning we normally do, right? So anybody have any question for me at this moment, or we can close it for a day?
Can you show an example of WBS, please?
Okay, sure, definitely, no problem. Okie dokie. Yes. So WBS is basically, we are trying to break down the activities or break down the work to a level where we can understand the uniqueness and estimation of a product, right? So be it something like you broken down the activities we are planning to do, broken down the activities to the nth level, normally third level, so that we can understand the estimation of it, right? We've seen and understood the work breakdown structure, frankly speaking, in terms of videos as well. So there, that gentleman was explaining how activities can be broken down, how product can be broken down, and so on so forth. To take an example, if I have a pen manufacturing factory and I have pen cap to be moduled, or to be shaped at one plastic machine, then another line to basically create a refill, or to insert the refill in the the body of pen, get it
Okay, got it.
filled. Yeah, so these are the steps, right? So what I'll do as in work breakdown structure, I'll break down this work depending on if I'm going to procure it, if not, why, if yes, why. I'll try to jot down the justification in terms of estimation also. So in all such scenario, I use something called work breakdown structure. So top of the list, I can have my project or product name. So I'll have something like pen manufacturing, and then on the bottom I'll say one where I'll have a cap manufacturing, I'll have a pin body manufacturing, I have a pen top manufacturing and a refill manufacturing. If at all I'm doing refill manufacturing, and the fifth step will be assembling of the pen together, right? So this is how I can plan my work in a level where I can estimate each and everything. So under one, where I'm trying to say cap manufacturing, I'll try to understand what are the things I need to do in cap manufacturing. I need to procure the plastic granules, I need to melt them, I need to insert the steel clip which goes inside that cap, right? So I'll try to insert that steel clip somewhere down the line. I'll have those plastic melted and wrapped around in the specific shape, get it cooled down, and then get it checked with the quality. So all these things are basically 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Now, if you see, when I'm trying to say reshape the plastic granule, this might take minutes altogether in a given system, right? They have, certain plastic melting equipment there, and then it get poured into the module, right? That's how it works out. So I can actually understand or actually create a ballpark estimation, and that's how you normally validate a work breakdown structure. Normally, as an analyst, we normally go to max 3 level down, and at the third level, means 1.1.1, I could clearly imagine the efforts and the efficiency required to get that, and I can even build some efficiency measure so that I can improve day by day, I can evolve day by day, and that's how we use work breakdown structure in our real life. Does that make sense, Rudra?
Clear.
Sure, no problem. So there's a small homework. Try to build a work breakdown structure for an activity you normally do. So rather than any business problem, I would like to take it as a good example of improving your life day by day. Let's say if you go to your office from your home, let's try to jot down or break down that activity under certain step, right? I catch this route, I turn left, I turn right, and so on and so forth. And then after building this work breakdown structure, try to sit up with a map. So, and you can use Google Map for that matters. Try to understand, is this the most efficient route? If yes, why not? Can I take another route? Could I improve myself? Could I reach earlier or something like that sort? So we can evolve as per our thought processes. We can evolve on each and every activity within our life, so that we can have more quality time, right? We can have more time which we can enjoy personally, rather than keep doing these repetitive laborious tasks. I don't like to drive, but yes, I like vehicles. I like to basically get to know vehicles, get to play around with driving and all. But if there's a traffic jam, I really don't want to go on a road, something like that sort. So whatever I like, I can choose in my in my remaining time. And the laborious task which I do, I want to make it more and more efficient, more and more quicker day by day. Does that make sense? Anybody awake? I know it's quite late. Oh man, it's almost 11:30, right?
It's
11 o'clock.
almost. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
11.
11 o'clock. Sorry. So, could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we
Can I
can do a.
actually show?
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Can I actually show a picture of the work breakdown structure? I found one.
Definitely. I'll stop share. You can do start share. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sharing. Here you go, guys. This is amazing. This
Wow,
is
you have so many work breakdown structures. Great. Construct a house. Good.
so it gives
Please
like
go
the
ahead.
percentage of electrical, right? And so I just searched up work breakdown structure, and here's a simple example. So like this, the 1.1.
Yes, yeah. This is the normally, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So
Could we
100%
all
of the
see?
total.
So we are trying to build a bicycle here, right? Exactly. Could you explain it, Ruda? That's really great sample.
So we're building a bike. That's the product. And then what is the bike made out of? The first big parts of it would be these parts, I guess.
Right.
And then even further, the frame. What does a frame set have? What does the crank have? What does the wheels? Those parts. So it goes 1.3.1, 1.3.2, and for
right.
6. This is this all credit goes to Ravi G for this, because he taught me this.
Right.
And so
Again, just a small problem with this image. The bicycle will go at 0th level. That's my primary level. I don't remember that level because then my in estimation might not come that clearly, right? So at WS2 is my WS1, WS2 3 is my WS2, and then I'll have one more down the line. So with the frame, what I have to do, frame, I need to oil it or clean it before starting attaching it with the handlebar, with the fork, with the seat, and all those things, right? So the third step actually give me an estimation. This is level second, level T, or they were level. Well, everybody has its way a way of numbering, but I normally go to 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's how deep the third level is normally. So that's a bit of difference of thought process. That's what I'll say right now. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Could you understand what I'm trying to say here? Because third level is important. Third level makes me validate my WBS if I'm going in a right direction, so that I can estimate it to the nth minute. A unit work which I can do in given minutes. That's the importance. I can go to n number of levels for that matters, but overall the third can give you, or the fourth if you want to give numbering like this, right? So something like that sort.
So, sir, how we are calculating the percentage here? I mean,
No, percentage is that's he taken percentage of a total work. So he say making bicycle. Let's say if he's going to take 4 hours, he say 4 hours is my 100%. So if I break it down in the first level where I say frame set, I need to have 1 hour to basically get the frame set aligned or whatever it may be. Then crankshaft I need 5 into 4 is 20 minutes. So something like that sort. So we were trying to basically rather than percentage, he tried to put down percentage of the total work. We normally put in hours and minutes. I don't think we have a example on that level, but yeah, I can understand.
so, sir, do we need to put the percentage
No,
while doing the
no,
WBS?
not even estimation. See, we do analysis, right? We don't normally create what I can say architect or design. We are analysts, so we do analyze. We elicit the business vision to a requirement and requirements to a level where we can say we can have a work breakdown structure. Yeah, this much more better, right? So this is how there are quite a few example available, but what I really want to you to have one of your own person, build one example, okay? Because these can be a bit of confusing, right? Everybody have their own thought process, everybody have their own thought line, like Lina ji did, like Pallavi ma'am did. Bring your thought process, do some spare some time, build some typical WBS by yourself, whatever you feel is a crucial activity for your day-to-day life, and let's try to make it more easier if we can all together as a team. Does that make sense, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So spend some 15-20 minutes, try to jot down on WBS, and next time we can review the WBS. We can also review user story quickly so that we don't miss any point. Okay, chalo, let's say goodbye now. Good night. Thanks a lot. If you have any question, you can keep it on a WhatsApp and we can discuss it out. Please don't feel detached. Anyway, we are going to work together for a long time, believe me. Okay.
So
Yes.
now Richa ji is going to take the class.
No, ma'am. As Richa ji clearly explained you, we will complete business analysis. Even I'll take quality assurance, and then from quality control, agile and Scrum, 3 capsules Richa ji will take.
So, sir, how
But,
long?
in the next class?
Go ahead, please.
From the next class, right?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
not from the next class. It will be once
I think a week or
Ravindra
two.
ji
A
is
week or
done
two.
with the BA QA, then only I'll start with QC and Agile.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
It will take some time.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Go ahead, please.
sir, when we are planning to finish this course, how long will take more?
Mostly, I think mid-February or February 20th. That's the current target.
Oh, it will. Okay, we have one more month to go to finish the course.
Almost, yes.
So all including agile
The
and
workshop
scrum.
and everything. Yeah, workshop and everything. Right. And most probably by that
And
time you'll have a job offer also in your hand. Means even that profile working
oh,
is going parallel, right? So I want you to be
yeah,
there as well, so that you can work in parallel, and it's nothing
yeah.
major lacking in terms of training and those things. So please don't feel, we can work parallelly, and that's how the life is currently, right? If you keep waiting, then the job peak might diminish, and I'm worried about that as well. You can get I want you to have the best job available in the market and the best salary what you can get. So that's how me and Richaji, we are doing something like crashing. We are trying to have her in between, and so something like that, so that we can achieve the result faster if possible. I would really love to finish by February 15. If possible,
Okay,
let me try for that. We might have some Sunday classes also starting in
okay,
at least not for tomorrow or something like that, tomorrow or the coming Sunday. But let's we could might build a plan. Let me revisit my scheduling and estimation, and then I'll come back to you on that.
Okay, sir.
okay. Sir, I want to ask you a last question. Is
Go
there
ahead.
any number for the diagrams?
Is
I
there any
mean, number, workflow diagram, process flow diagram. Is there any count? How
any
many
software you want to
diagrams
say?
are? No,
Software?
no.
Uh-huh.
No. I am asking. You are explaining every day HLDs and process flow diagrams and workflow diagrams.
Right.
I'm asking, what is the how many diagrams are there like this?
Like I say, ma'am, there's no limit to it, right? It's an analysis. What we do, we collect thoughts, we build these thoughts into these documents, we draw these diagrams to make it more clear and concise. Okay, so if you work in a company in North American, we have pretty standard. Like you have use case diagram, you have HLDs, you have Excel sheet to prove your options, and then you present it in a bundle document called system requirements section. That's what we normally do as in standard IT processes. But if you go to some Japanese company, they might use fishbone diagram as well. They will add the fishbone diagrams to your kitty. If you go to somewhere like Cognizant manufacturing business unit, then you might have these workflow diagrams to explain there. Or if you go to somewhere which are lazy old project management consulting house, they might use WBS, because WBS is also another philosophical tool. And these project manager love these things because WBS can give you really early estimation. That's what they say. If whenever you do PMI, PMP, WBS is integral tool which we use. So
Okay.
something like that. So it depends on where you go, where you start working. We'll have some additional diagramming methods if there's a need, but normally as a standard, use case diagram, Excel sheet, HLD and SRS. These are the four major things which we need to learn. If there are any additions, we can learn. Okay, and these are all tools for
Okay,
our
you are
betterment. Go ahead, please.
okay. You are trying to explain most popular things in
Exactly,
some.
ma'am. That's
Okay,
right. And the
okay,
other things which I have included are, uh, it might come up in an interview. So you should know what's what. That's all. You don't have to
okay,
showcase your working on them or something like that sort.
okay, okay.
That.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So
Okay, no
can we
problem.
call it a day now?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you. Thanks a
Yes.
lot. Have a good
Thank you
night.
so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Bye.
Good morning.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good morning. Bye.
Yeah. Have a nice weekend. Thank